So I believe that if black people will be united, they will be the strongest group ever in the world. I'm telling you, if you see two black guys together, they have like a different kind of handshake, they talk to each other differently, but like they have a certain bond which goes outside of just race, right? And if they would move like the Chinese people do, who basically work together, or if they start making money, they'll tell their other Chinese friends, they'll tell the Chinese family, and the whole generation is basically rich right now. They'll always help each other. We see the small eyes, we immediately know, bro, it's a chica, it's my Chinese guy, right? It's my Chinese brother. So I think if black people have the same unity as Chinese people would have, or they will be the strongest group in the world. But maybe the elite does this on purpose because they're scared what the potential is of those black people. If black people would act the same way as Chinese people do, they would be so much more powerful. There are so many black people in the world. There are so many, especially African Americans. The thing is, they are not bonding. They're fighting each other. If they would be as united as Chinese people, they will be powerful as fuck. But they're divided. But they could be powerful, but they don't have this unity. They don't have this gene which makes them connected. Or maybe it's the elite which keeps them divided.
Welcome back, everyone. LanceScurv here. Another day in paradise, another day in the sun. Now, there are many places all over the planet that could be referred to as paradise, but this paradise resonates with me, and the paradise that I'm really talking about is on the inside of me. Balanced, at peace, and I know my mission, and I know what I have to do, and I know why I'm here on this planet and what has to be done. And that's a satisfying feeling as each day comes to you and passes by, and you can feel good about what you did for that day. Now, today I want to speak about a brother named Zach Wakasa or Makasa. He's an African brother, country of origin I don't know, but he's here in the motherland, and he does some very good videos, and he really brings some good points. And I love to give credit where credit is due, because there's so many pieces of content that we have to wade through to get to the good stuff. And what he talks about is the good stuff. And I'm going to put the link to his video that I'm speaking about right now down below in the description. Boy, the sun is pumping and I love it. Just feed the melanin. But anyway, he showcased a Chinese gentleman who spoke about black people, African people, melanated people worldwide. And what the clip basically said was a positive, and there were some questions. And basically, not verbatim, this is what he said. The Chinaman said, black people all over the planet are the most powerful. They should be the first and foremost race on the planet with the talents, abilities, and the strength and fortitude that they have. Now, you know, there's some of us who don't possess those qualities, but overall, collectively, if we unified and worked together, you know, that we would be hands down the premier producers and the premier talent, all good things he said. But what he doesn't understand is that why is it that we find it so hard to work with each other? Why? Why do we find it so hard to pool our resources and, you know, have a vision and stick to it with a plan? And there are many of us who are great. He wasn't saying this about everybody, but really with all we have globally, we should be a lot better off and not consumers, not begging people for jobs, not doing the foolishness against each other that we do. He said it's like there's a gene missing in us. And that was the way he described it. He wasn't being funny. But then again, if you look at our behavior toward each other, you know, we romanticize and speak the good stuff. But even those of us who speak unity and speak, you know, living together as one and whatever, behind that facade, the majority of the time, and what's the majority? It could be 51%, it could be 99%. But the majority of the time, it falters, it falls through, it's paper thin. And I don't understand the whole thing either if we look at it honestly. Once we get to a certain point, it's like we don't want to see each other advance. We want to tear them down, we want to kick them low. When we have a potential, individually, in the collective, that if we do something together, and it seems like it's going to work, there's something that goes off inside of us that says, well, I know I'll benefit, but I don't want him to benefit. So I'm going to mash the whole thing up. It always happens. Not 100% of the time, but the majority of the time. And like I say, I can't say, I haven't surveyed the whole world, so I can't really say. But it's there. What is wrong with us collectively? I know we have been damaged. I know we have been through a lot. I know we have been brainwashed, but it doesn't even seem as though collectively we're going to turn the tide and stop the momentum and swim upstream against this thing. And it's really bad now because what's happening on social media is programming us to be even worse against each other. So we haven't even seen the results of what's happening now with the mind control that the powers that be want us to be under so that they can benefit. See, it seems like when we go for self collectively in small groups or larger groups, there's always one of us or a bunch of us who will sabotage it. At this point in 2025, we can say glowing things, we can ignore the problem, but it is definitely a problem and a challenge that we need to surmount, because collectively, it seems like we're not going to make it. Individually, those who go for the individual self, some will make it, but they can do better if they lended their talent and abilities to the other people who are willing and ready to do it. But many of us are not willing and ready to do it. We talk it, but we end up wasting time. And so you take a person like myself who has seen this time and time again, who's had people around me at different junction points in my life that do the same thing. They talk a good game, they suck up your energy, and at the end of the day, they end up working against you. So for me right now, I work solo. LanceScurv and I, and the very few in my corner. But I rather it this way, so I know it would take me a little longer, but I'm going to reach those goals. But it would be nice if my efforts can be amplified to benefit other people, and what they do benefits me, and we go further synergistically, which means a bigger result from a smaller collective of people. Like, say for example, when two people work together, I'm just making this up, it's like 25 people working together. When you have 10 people working together, it might be like 250 people working together. You see, synergistic. But if you have one, that's just one. But to get that ball rolling, if you have to do that and sacrifice and suffer, and it's not real suffering, because you will get your due rewards from your efforts, but you have to be shrewd. But that man, that Chinese man, had also asked why. Why is it that it seems like we hate each other? We turn against each other. It's like there's something, it's true. There's something in us. Is it just mental? Definitely spiritual and mental. But what is it about us collectively in this world where we had great nations before, great empires before, but in this modern day, that one who we call the colonizer benefits from us? And I'll tell you one thing too. With us as Black Africans, and if you want to call yourself FBA, we work harder when we're working for the oppressor, when we're working for the colonizer, when we're working for the other. We go full throttle. We work so hard and we benefit somebody else. But if we worked in a company or a collective or a group with just us, we look for ways to slack. We look for ways to just quietly quit and just do just the bare minimum. And we look to take away instead of adding. It seems to me, and this is the best way I could explain it, that the Chinese overall take pride more in their collective efforts than any individual achievement. Their thing is the collective. Like, yeah, we're showing off righteously for the world, because we're going to show you that we can defeat any obstacle, because together we work as a team and we work as a unit. Can black folks do that globally, wherever you are, as a melanated individual, whatever you call yourself, right? Can we do that? It seems that we can't. And I know we can. But what's the problem? Where do we start? The momentum is not in our favor. Listen, y'all, time is flying. I first got on social media in 2001 as an artist, and I started writing. Then when videos came around years later, I was already established. That's why my name rings a bell most of the time. That was me from way back then, and I could tell you a lot of stories. And I've seen us get near greatness collectively to benefit us as a people, and it always tumbles. Not in every single case, but the majority of the cases. And I'm not speaking in a hateful way. I'm speaking in a hurt way. In a hurt way. I've been on this thing almost 25 years. The next couple of months, when we get into February of 2026, I would have been online for a quarter of a century. Most of my work has been hijacked and stolen and taken down, whatever, but I'm still here. The energy I put out is still the same. I tell it like it is. And if there's a negative comment that comes this way, well, so be it. But the thing is, we have a sickness. And the thing too, when you have a person who, let's say one person who has some kind of mental or spiritual issue, they're depressed, they're suicidal, they have self-hate, something extreme that's interfering with a normal life, an average life, a healthy life. Not average, because we're not average people. But what do? What's the first thing you say? Say, you need help. You need therapy. Well, is there a therapy that has ever been created to turn the tide on the trajectory that we're on now as black people worldwide, no matter where you come from? Right? Is there a therapy that can permeate the damage that was done? Or should we just write off black people, the majority of them, unless they can prove themselves, as a loss? You know, when you get into a car accident, let me itch my leg. I don't know if there's something crawling up on me. But when you get into a car accident, and hopefully you're safe and everything, and if there's any damage to you, you have insurance to cover you. But the vehicle, insurance companies will say, okay, we're going to give you this amount of money to repair your vehicle, right? Well, if it's beyond repair, they have to write it off. And they don't want to get you a brand new vehicle or something of similar value. How many of us, I'm going to ask you this, to leave a comment and answer my question. Collectively, how many of us, we're not just saying specific countries or age groups or whatever, just overall, but how many of us need to be written off as black people? Because this is no joke. We're going through generations and generations and generations of many of us being stuck. I'm not being negative, because there's some of us who are doing well. But they can't do well for all of us as if we were all connected. Those that we applaud and we say, oh, you're doing so well and you're the first one to achieve this and you're the first one to achieve that. It goes nowhere except for them, but it goes nowhere for benefiting us as a people. So it's like having a brand new refrigerator. You put all your food in there, but you don't plug it in. There's no power with it. The food spoils. When one of us achieves something, it should be a victory for all of us, right? And we'll clap and say the right things, and the sabotage begins, and it goes nowhere. But yet and still, we'll go and work for somebody else in somebody else's system and benefit them, and really never receive what the value that we bring to the table. That's my concern. But collectively, should it be 50% of black people, 30% of black people, 90% who are poisoned with this mindset? Some very intelligent people. We're not talking people who don't have any sense. And some of us don't have any sense. Some of us are beyond measure. You go to the churches and you see all these wonderful people and they're smart and, they're religious and everything. That's a different story. But a lot of them are not doing anything for the collective. And we're arguing about FBA and indigenous and we're not related and you're from here and I'm from there and, you're American and you're Caribbean and it always comes out. The small-mindedness of us. As we argue over little things that don't even matter, that won't even matter for the collective. Most of our battles as black people that we have against each other is doing nothing to change our world. I'm going to be harsh and I'm going to say it this way. You're going to die in 100 years, nobody will remember you. Some of you will die in 20 years, there'll be nobody mentioning your name. And you're going through all of this foolishness against your own people when you could have built something for your children, your children's children, and so on and so forth. The foolishness we do. Yet Chinese, and I'm using them as an example, we can talk about the Jewish people, like Zach mentioned, that when they achieve anything or they get any money and they want a slice of bread or they want to get a loaf of bread, they're looking for another Jewish person to purchase that bread from. They're looking for it. We want to hook up when we see any of us in a shop. We're selling bread, we're selling groceries. We want to reduce price. Why? But you'll go to the other people and you pay what they ask for. We're really messed up collectively, and this is what's really, and I hate to say it, I seek out those who are like-minded. I seek out those who are driven. But I'm not sitting here as a charity case to nurse people who don't want to understand that we need to move as a collective. Until then, I'll move solo, and I'm happy doing it because I have nothing in my way, and this is the freest I ever been. So I can accomplish what I need to accomplish. If we can benefit from it collectively, fine. But I'm not going to wrestle and try to convince people to rid themselves of the demons that many of them already know that they have. They already know they're possessed with this mindset, And it's like Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, that old movie where the zombies were trying to come in and get this guy inside the house. And anytime one of them got bit by one of these zombies, you turned into one. And that's the case with us. And many times he would see somebody outside trying to come in like a ghoul or a monster, and it was a loved one or somebody he knew, but he had to hit them over the head to kill them, right? And he didn't want to do that because he was so caught up in his emotions with them as they were before, but they're not that person anymore. Just like we fall victim to the costumes and the masks that many of our people use, and they talk the righteous talk, but they got venom in their heart because they don't like to see you progress with your talents and abilities, and they want to destroy it. They want to have it for themselves as individuals, but they don't want you to shine with your God-given abilities. That's why I move solo. And I'm open. If you're a proven product, if you have a track record for doing what it is that you do. But I'm not opening anything up with my energy to invest in people who really, at the end of the day, will be your own personal black haters. What the Chinaman said is true. Unfortunately, overall, it's true. We're not happy for each other. Our thing is to tear each other down. What kind of sickness is this that we have? And can a therapy change it? I think the majority of us, no matter how well spoken, how educated, how decent, I see it in America, I see some of it here in Ghana. And I can discern spirits and attitudes right away. So many want the accolades and they want their name on the billboard, and I have to be known this way and I have to be known for this, and I am the greatest, I'm the smartest, and yeah, but how is it benefiting your people? Right? So I'm good as I am. And I'm very happy, but I'm not happy to have to talk about this. I still have enthusiasm, but really only for those who are really about it. The rest of y'all, I'm writing y'all off. I did that a long time ago when I cleaned house a couple years ago on this platform. Anyway, let me hear the percentage of how many of us need to be written off. Is this thing true? And I still have love for black people. Just like you can have love for your family, your blood family, but if they're messing up, they can't handle money, they're on drugs and don't want to get off, they gossip or they want to mooch off of you, I can love you from a distance. You see what I mean? And for me, that's what it is. So I'm working on myself, enjoying life. Let's see what happens. But let me know what you think. Anyway, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. LanceScurv out, on to the next one. We got more work to do before the sun goes down, and I will see you then. Thank you so much.